Episode 55 I Know You. The purple glow announced the use of one prohibited magic attack. The mind-reading technique of hearing the truth from the other person was demonstrated. Mind-reading was a forbidden martial art that could not be used against religious believers unless permission was obtained from the religious leader. This is because martial arts itself can be exploited in many ways because it can read the opponent's mind and even elicit an answer. However, the Seoponmazon violated the taboo and cast the mind-reading magic. Even high-skilled magicians were able to perform mind-reading and soul-destroying techniques, but their success rates varied depending on each person's skill and prowess. As the skill level increased, the purple color became darker. The brilliant purple color showed that the Soul Mason's mind-reading and soul-destroying technique was capable of drawing out content that he could not even remember. Who the hell are you? It's a sword dance. How do you know about me? I investigated you. Everything from personality to everything. The mind-reading technique that penetrates through the eyes had no effect on me who had blood-stabilizing water in it. Nevertheless, I answered as if I was addicted to mind-reading. If I see what he asks, I will also learn something about him. Is there a cult leader behind this? No. Relief flashed across the Soul Mason's face. After all, what he feared most was his father. Why did you come? I came to kill you. Did you tell anyone you were coming here? I didn't tell anyone. The Soul Mason has solved the mind-reading magic. It seems that they decided that there was no reason to waste any more energy and perform mind-reading techniques unless the cult leader ordered them to do so. The consumption of internal energy and mental power required for mind-reading and soul-destroying techniques was more severe than that of any other hex technique. I was able to find out by asking who I had told about my coming here. That he had decided to kill me. Gong Gong Li, from today onwards you will disappear from your world. I am me too, but would you be able to kill me and take care of it? Why should I take care of everything? Hyolkian Doma should do it. It's not me who kills you. You will try to kill Hyolkian Doma and die at his hands. It meant that he would order me to use a spell to kill Hyolkian Doma. Since I don't think I can defeat the Blood Heavenly Chopping Demon, I conclude that I will eventually die from the Blood Heavenly Chopping Demon. That's your opinion. What does it mean to be myself? Why do you keep talking as if you know me well? You investigated me? This is a sham investigation, considering that you can kill me. The moment the words ended, the world spun. Light so bright and intense that I couldn't open my eyes flew in, and soon I was standing alone in a dark space. Someone whispered in my ear. Kill the Hyolkian Doma. Those words were repeated over and over again. First, in the voice of the Seoponmazon, then in the voice of the father, then in the voice of Ian, then in the voice of Seo De Ryong. I repeated the words in every voice I knew. Even I and Hyolkian Doma's voice could be heard. Even though I covered my ears, those words kept coming into my head. It felt like the command was being hammered into my brain. My head hurt like it was going to explode. Even in a situation where the Heavenly Demon Protector's art was activated, if it were to this extent, an ordinary person would have already been caught in the Subsoul Mason's Subsoul art. I looked around. In the pitch-black darkness, a bluish light was visible in the distance. I instinctively felt that that light was the destruction method of this magic of seduction. I walked towards that light. The closer we got, the bigger the light grew, and it was big enough for a person to pass through. I walked in there without hesitation. A Soul Mason was standing outside. He looked at me with a surprised face. How did you open your eyes on your own? It seems that the act of stepping into the light itself was an act of opening one's eyes in reality. You can never open your eyes until the magic spell is over. I guess you have a lot of affection for Hyolkian Doma. I don't want to kill him. Once again, the surroundings spun and an intense light flew in. Into the dark again. Kill the Hyolkian Doma. It was a more powerful meditation technique that involved more internal energy. If the first meditation was driven into the brain with a small hammer, now it was struck with a large hammer. But the bluish light still existed and I was able to get out of it. Even after I came out, I felt dizzy and felt like my head was going to explode, so I could see how powerful the soul magic of the Soul Mason was. Why on earth can't I be affected by the magic? It's because of the strong bond one have with Elder Thomas. Gibberish. You're uncharacteristically anxious. Then I guess I'll have to take action myself. The next moment, the surroundings became dark. Something stirred in the darkness. As the floor trembled, black shadows rose up. They were monsters with long, slitted eyes and mouths and long, attached limbs that made you feel cold just by looking at them. Things that seemed to have come from hell attacked me. I cut them down with the black magic sword. The bodies of the black monsters were dotted with bluish light. Some on the head, some on the stomach and some on the arms. The blood stabilizer accurately demonstrated the destruction method of this hex. When I hit the light exactly, they disappeared into a cloud of white light. They would have been evil spirits that would never die and would attack their opponents until the end unless they were stabbed precisely in the vital spot. This was an enemy that could never be stopped simply by having excellent martial arts skills. As soon as all the monsters were cut down, the dark surroundings became brighter and the Soul Mason could be seen standing with a serious expression. Without saying anything, he performed the next hex. I was startled when it got dark and then bright again. I was standing on a large log in the middle of the ocean. It was real sea water. It was clearly an illusion created by manipulating the human mind, but it was a real sea where you would die if you fell into it. At that time, the sound of waves coming from afar. When I turned my head, I saw something approaching me from afar. Surprisingly, it was a huge tsunami. Shoot! The wrath of Mother Nature that cannot be stopped by human power. I could clearly see why the members of the political faction were the most picky about the Subhonmason. How on earth can a single human being overcome this huge illusion? The tsunami that came in close was as high as a cliff. It was a tsunami so high that the end seemed far away. However, the destruction law was nowhere to be seen during the tsunami. Since there was no place to escape, I was swept away by the waves. I received a huge shock and fell into the water as if I was being crushed. If I hadn't used the heavenly demon self-defense technique, I would have lost my mind from the shock. I was swept around in the water against my will. How long has it been? Pua! I put my face out of the water and let out the breath I had been holding. Just when I thought I was going to buy something. In the distance, a tsunami began to roll in again. If this tsunami continues to repeat itself, any expert will eventually die from exhaustion. Before that, I had to find a way to destroy it. I looked around and dived into the water, looking for a bluish glow. But the sea was just dark. It was also swept away by the second tsunami. After minimizing the shock with the Kionma self-defense technique, he stuck his head out of the water again. No matter how much I looked, the surroundings were vast. It seemed almost impossible to search this vast sea and find a method of destruction. Where on earth is it? There are no seagulls, no rocky islands, and there is literally nothing but the sea water and me in the vast ocean. There needs to be something to find it. Just then a thought crossed my mind. When I thought about it, there was something. No way. I jumped out of the water. I flew up out of the sea water and found one thing. But I couldn't find what I was looking for and was swept away by the third tsunami. Before the fourth tsunami came again, I flew over the sea again and searched hard for one thing. And I eventually found what I was looking for. Please? This is the way. What I found was the log that was standing there when I first came here. When I turned the log, I saw a bluish light underneath. Heil Jiangsu always accurately and quickly taught the method of destruction, but this time it was dark under the lamp. It was worth it since the law of destruction was the only thing that protected me in the vast ocean. Or maybe it was originally shining from above, but as the log turned in the waves, the light may have pointed downward. Just before the fourth tsunami hit, the log was cut with a black magic sword. Right at that moment, the tsunami that seemed like a lie disappeared, and at the same time, the sea also disappeared. It may have been a secret trick, but the Soul Mason did not show me that he was in despair. A new space immediately unfolded. The Soul Mason was pouring out his deadly secret techniques. There were about 30 mirrors standing around me. My life was reflected in the mirror. There was a picture of me when I was young, a picture of me now, a picture of me as a middle-aged person, and a picture of me as an old person. It was as if a mirror showed my entire life over a period of 3 or 4 years. I walked slowly and looked at myself in the mirror. Most people were at an age that I had experienced before regression, but at some point, I showed an age that I had never experienced before. Especially when I looked in the mirror for the last time, I looked so old that I couldn't even recognize myself. I was on the verge of death. I asked myself in the mirror, "What are you regretting so much?" In the mirror, I was lying alone in a large room, gaunt, looking up at the ceiling with empty eyes. There was no one with me in my death. It was truly a lonely and lonely death. This is not my future. It is an illusion created by the soul mason. Perhaps someone impatient may have broken this mirror. If that had happened, the situation would probably have been even worse. I reached out my hand and slowly touched the old man's image in the mirror. Did you hope for a happy death when you lived with so much blood on your hands? It's greed, Mujuk. If it kills Hwamugi and saves the people who should have been saved, then this kind of death is okay. I comforted myself. What will my actual death be like? Will I die alone and lonely like that? Or will I die smiling and comforting those who remain? It's okay, so go by. I know you. He touched me in the mirror, but perhaps he was comforting me as I am now. It's okay, I'm doing well. I returned to the front and stood in front of a mirror showing my younger days. This was me a few years later, and there was a bluish glow around the mirror. Now then, shall we go out? Clang! I swung the black magic sword and broke the mirror. Beyond the shattered mirror, I could see the surprised soul mason. How did you know it was this mirror? Out of dozens of mirrors, only one mirror could come out of there. If you break another one by mistake, the number of mirrors doubles. If you break it wrong again, it doubles. You can never get out of there. I am lucky. You came out because you were lucky? You can't wake up just because you're lucky. The soul mason's expression was completely frozen. Surprise now gave way to shock, and I came to the one conclusion that must have been in my mind throughout the failed attack. He asked in a trembling voice, "Have you really mastered the 9 fire demon techniques?" Before I could even respond, he decided yes. What a crazy cult leader. Have you already decided on a successor without us knowing? He misunderstood that. It had to be that way. There was only one case where his magic didn't work. The soul mason burst into anger. Damn it! Are you using your child as a knife to kill me? Dirty bastard! The cult leader never once showed his true feelings. He always stabs me in the back. For a moment. Let's point out one thing. Other than this, has your father ever stabbed you in the back? What? You always stab me in the back? Tell me about the other back. The soul mason could not say anything. Father said you are the person the political faction fears the most. It means I think highly of you. Did he hit you in the back like that? I don't think there is one. What do you want to say? Don't say that you're angry. My father hesitated to kill you until the end. Maybe I'll lose points for this. But why are you like this? I thought about it carefully. Farming, doing business, attending academia, and becoming a military officer. I was just living a normal life. But one day, you are dragged in without knowing why and your heart is ripped out alive. Wouldn't that be too unfair? In the first place, life is unfair. If you feel unfair, you can become a master. You take all that unfairness today. Even though he misunderstood that I had mastered the 9 fire demonic art, the soul mason was not discouraged. Did you say you were investigating me? Yes, well researched. I am a person who has lived with the desire to live a long life. Did I not expect that a day like this would come someday? The day the cult leader betrays me and tries to kill me. He still believed that his father had planned this situation. Do you know why I fell into the great law of heart and soul? Just to gain a little strength. It wasn't. Of course not. A black smoke-like energy began to rise around the soul mason's body. Did you say it flew and turned into a monster? Did you see a real monster? In the black energy, he began to change. It was literally a transformation. His body grew larger and his skin turned black. Pure white brilliance flowed from the 2 long, slit eyes, and the ears stood out like a demon. A large, red heart was seen beating and beating in his chest. Is that an illusion or real? After his transformation, he showed a completely different prayer than before. It was cold and solid. I'm nervous. This magic attack was a deadly move in preparation for the 9 fire magic attack. It means that it is that strong. I'll rip your proud 9 fire demon to pieces. The demonic energy he emitted swept the surroundings. It was not just demonic energy, it was dark demonic energy. Episode 56, live long then. Dark magic arts are prohibited magic arts. It was much more vicious and powerful than a typical magic attack, but its side effects were as great as its power. Most of those who have mastered the dark magic arts are eaten by the magic arts, fall into the magic spell, commit massacre, and meet their end. Therefore, in the Heavenly Demon Church, learning dark magic techniques is strictly prohibited. Dark magic is the magic that comes out when you learn dark magic. The energy was so strong that I tried to break the opponent's momentum first. What kind of garbage have you learned? Let's see if those words come out when you die buried in trash. I came here to kill you for no reason. Even if I had left it alone, I would have died from the side effects of the dark magic attack. There is no chance of death from side effects. I succeeded in preventing side effects with the internal energy I gained through the heart and soul training. I pulled out my dark magic sword, feeling that it would be a difficult fight. When the soul mason held out his hand, black energy swirled around his hand. When the energy disappeared, a black sword was held in his hand. At first glance, it was not an ordinary sword. I will kill you, and one day I will kill your father with my own hands and take his place. You're too scared to do that. He will survive his life and hide his ambitions for the rest of his life. In fact, even in his life before returning, he never once revealed that he had mastered dark magic. He took it to the end as a secret tactic to protect himself. We were angry at each other, and we put as much energy into our swords as we did with our anger. Sword and sword clashed in the air. Boom! An ear-splitting explosion of sound erupted. Neither I nor the Sufamazan were pushed back an inch. We were close in the internal attack. If he hadn't used up his internal energy through several attempts at meditation, he would have overwhelmed me with his internal energy when he transformed. This is the power of dark magic. From the beginning, I dealt with him using the Baishan sword method. This is an enemy I have to deal with only the best herbivory I have. The first bactericidal system was developed. Easy profit. A ray of sword light cut the soul mason in two. When a perfect line was drawn, the soul mason, whose waist should have been cut off, soared upward and was swinging his sword. The cry of the subsoul mason bursts out in a deep voice. Destruction. It was a sword as fast as light. 6 sword lines appeared and disappeared where I was standing. If I hadn't used the blinker to avoid it, I would have been cut into 6 pieces and died there. Demon Slayer. Subsoul Mason also didn't make the mistake of giving me a chance with a sloppy attack. A second herbivore flew in, stronger and faster than the previous one. This time the space where I was standing was torn into 12 pieces. The sight of 12 sword lines appearing and disappearing at the same time was truly spectacular. This time I also avoided using the blinkers, but it was closer than before. Before he fired the third attack, the second transformation of the Baishan sword technique was unleashed. My sword changed 12 times in front of the soul mason. The soul mason did not dodge, but instead struck down each attack with his sword. Every time the sword collided, sparks flew. As the change brought about by the transition ceremony grew, the white radiance emanating from the subsoul mason's eyes became more intense. After hitting the 12th and last change, he immediately counterattacked. Annihilation. His third Chozik, which was getting stronger, and his third Vichin sword technique, Hyanki Ansik, were unleashed at the same time. Fortunately, I was not in the space that was divided into 24 parts. I dodged it, but I couldn't dodge the soul mason. Sigh. Hyun Cheon-sik tore the soul mason's shoulder. But no blood came out of the body. The blackened skin was as strong as a robe. Based on its strength, the attack of the soul mason continued. His cries drowned out by the sound of metal. Doom! 48 sword lines gorgeously embroidered. The space occupied by his sword light grew bigger and bigger. Although he was powerful, he had one weakness. Due to lack of actual combat experience with this magic attack, the attack was monotonous. If I had used that martial art, I would never have been able to avoid it. I barely managed to avoid it and launched a sacrificial ritual, a sword energy release ceremony. The sword energy flew at an incredible speed and struck the soul mason with a thudding sound. The soul mason, who had stumbled so hard that he felt like he was about to fall, regained his composure. Parts that should have been cut off and disappeared originally remained. A stream of black liquid flowed from the corner of the soul mason's mouth, but he still looked solid. Why aren't you using the 9-fire magic gong, Master Li? The soul mason's voice changed to a screeching sound and did not sound like a human voice. It means that he has assimilated the dark magic he learned. If things continue like this, he will eventually be eaten by the devil. Such powerful magic always demands a price. Still, he was overdoing it and I became that much more dangerous. I think I can beat you even without using the 9-fire magic attack. It was an intentional stimulus. The moment you lose your composure in a close fight, you lose your life as well. And this stimulus had another aim. Your pride will ultimately lead to your death. The moment the Subsoul Mason spoke, the best quick sword technique of the Baishan sword technique, the Zio style, the Changchen style, was unleashed. It was an attack of conversion that cut off the breathing of the person speaking. Chang Cheon-sik accurately cut off the guy's neck. However, the neck was not cut and only black liquid was flowing out. Even with Chang Cheon-sik, your neck won't be cut? You really have become a monster. At my words, the Soul Mason rushed towards me. He looked like he was going to explode with rage, but his breathing was steady. For him, the rules of fighting and fighting did not work. We soared into the sky, looking for an opportunity to unleash our secret weapon. Sword and sword clashed endlessly as they soared. Like two dragons wrapping around each other and ascending to heaven, we wrapped our arms around each other and shared our swords. The place was filled with only the invisible sword and the sound and sword light it made. This is the place where the Seophon Mason, who is known to only use Seophon Jutsu, hides his magical skills as a last resort. This is the martial arts world. At the end of the splendid battle, the moment we separated from each other, the Soul Mason's eye shone bright white. Dangerous! The Soul Mason made his last move. His cry bursts out with a perfect metallic sound. Heavenly destruction! I didn't avoid it. His opportunity was also my opportunity. We saw the same opportunity and flew our swords towards the gap. Together with Myong Guangbo, I poured all my effort into the eighth form of the flying heavenly sword technique, Wankian Sik. Shush! SSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSS I was standing. One entire side was cut off as the space was divided into 96 pieces. It was truly an admirable spectacle. The Soul Mason did not look at the admirable spectacle he had created. He was looking down at his heart. Blood flowed from the heart that was pierced by my dark magic sword. It was not black liquid, but red blood. His huge heart, which had been writhing so vigorously, had stopped moving. How? I spoke calmly to him, who was filled with disbelief. Your heart is so big it's easy to stab. How could that be? That's how he said that he met his end today, because of his greed that stole the hearts of innocent people. The transformation began to break as black smoke leaked from his body. He, who was more of a monster than a monster, turned into an ordinary person in the world who seemed like he could save 10 people from Mega Village. It wasn't the 9 fire demonic craftsmen. It was a combination of Myung Wangbo and the 8th style of Baishan sword technique. Myung Wangbo. The Myung Wangbo of the Wind God Temple treasure. How can you read Punction Sabo? I guess heaven arranged for you not to die. It wasn't nonsense. If it weren't for Function Sabo, I would have died in today's fight. I realized this desperately. You must never let down your guard when dealing with Mason. To be honest, I was confident that I would beat him because I got the blood stability essence. But he had an ace up his sleeve. It was a truly dangerous move that would have killed me if it weren't for Punction Sabo. Hyol Kion Doma, Ilhway Jimzan, and the other remaining Masons. There must be a hidden number that is different from what is seen. Today I became stronger. He did not become stronger because he killed the Soul Mason, but because he would never let down his guard again. The Soul Mason slowly collapsed. As he died, the space he had created began to crack. The life in his black eyes, which had been moving so actively as they grew bigger and smaller, disappeared. He looked up at me and spoke with difficulty. When I am reborn, I will definitely kill you. I didn't respond with a curse. If you are born again, live a long time. I'm sure there are better ways besides this. His eyes wavered at my words. I tried to say something, but I couldn't get it out of my mouth. It may have been a more severe curse, or he may have been trying to convey his final regrets. The Soul Mason lowered his head and died. At the same time, the world he created disappeared. We were back at the place where we had first planned to conduct the heart and soul treatment. Even in death, the Soul Mason presented the final mystery. The Soul Mason was dead, sitting cross-legged. We fought like crazy, but there was not a single wound, as if he had died from a coin attack. He died in the world he loved so much. I quietly left there, holding the child lying on the altar. I bought some good drinks and snacks and returned to Hyol Kion Doma. He entrusted the child to Seo De Ryong and told him to secretly find his parents. Since he told me that he was a child who almost fell victim to Dafa, Seo Dairayong, who is quick-witted and smart, will handle it secretly. Why did it take so long? Did you really make the snacks yourself? How did you know? What? It took some time to make the snacks. What are you talking about? What kind of snack is this? Looking at the dishes I bought, Hyul-ki Cutting Ma made a puzzled expression. Isn't this a dish that will take a long time? I smiled and poured a drink for Hyul-ki Doma. Now, take a drink. The night is still long. Is the old man's physical strength the same as yours? If you stay up all night, you'll be lazy all day. You're still cheerful, right? Now, have fun today. Gong Li, you seem to be in a good mood today. Yes. That will be fine. For what? It's just nice to see you after so long. Hyul-ki Doma looked at me with an expression that made me wonder what his intentions were. But how would he know? While I was there, I killed a soul mason. We met for the first time in a long time and drank several drinks in succession. It felt like this was the first time since I met him that I could drink alcohol in such a refreshing and pleasant way. We talked about many things. We talked about the martial arts situation, martial arts, Seo Dairayong, and Jeomjun. It might seem surprising to others, but we both talked a lot, so we didn't run out of topics during the drinking session. Do you know why I liked Rap Bell? Why? I asked on the first day. Would I give my life for you? So they said they couldn't offer it. I need to scold this guy. I liked that honesty at the time. Please speak directly to the inspector. You'll probably like it. Nothing to do. Then I'll tell you next time. Someone has to do this. A single word like this can change your life. Why do you look at me like that? You really care about all kinds of people. If this continues, I will also take care of the guy who cleans up the horse manure in the stable. Why don't you go and feed us together? Isn't that a good thing if you can do it? I've never seen anyone like you in my life. It will be the same for our school. It will be a heavenly demon church that you have never seen before. Isn't it okay for our school to be like that for at least one generation? Hyul-ki Doma stared at me. The look in his eyes was deep as he looked at me, wondering what he was thinking. Gongya Li. Yes. Pour me a drink. Until now, I have poured him a drink every time. But now it felt different than usual. I could feel it. That this drink I am currently pouring has a different meaning from other drinks. So I told him. I pour the first drink to my sitter. I thought he would say something, asking what nonsense he was talking about, but he took the drink without saying a word. I poured a glass full of alcohol. Hyul-ki Doma looked down at the glass for a long time. And I finished the drink. Maybe at this moment he truly decided to follow me. Of course, I can only guess. Because he was truly an unpredictable person. Then Thomas suddenly spoke. Is the seat high? Is USA high? If possible, order something high. After staring at him blankly for a moment, I burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. We drank all night. It's a human relationship that even if it's this good, one day, the relationship goes sour because of a single word or mistake. That's why we need to keep building. Until it becomes a strong relationship that cannot be ruined by one or two mistakes. Whether it's a drinking party, a fight, a gift, careful advice, or a compliment that doesn't come from the heart. Whatever it is, you have to compact it, build it up, and build it up again. I make mistakes and he can too. I saw you today and you looked handsome. Crazy guy. The blood heavenly sword raised his great sword of the dead and shined it in our faces. Now, look at my face clearly and say it again. Ha ha ha. Why are you just laughing? Go ahead and tell me you're handsome. You shouldn't confess to a woman when you're drunk. Hyul-ki Doma laughed, saying he had caught the flatterer. I laughed along with him. The luck of getting someone who is truly yours will be given to at least someone who makes this effort. Episode 57. I hope no other monsters appear. The next day, the news that the Sufarmazan had died hit the church. Many people have died recently, but Majin's death was a problem of a different level. An emergency was declared on campus and a full-scale investigation began. It was Hwang Cheongak who went out to investigate the incident. As the matter was a serious matter, all special investigators and 20 executive officers went to Seo Hwanjin. In front of the Soul Mason's residence, his disciples and magicians were camped. You can't go in. They never wanted to let us in. They were panicking and didn't know how to handle this situation. We decided to block our entry and exit for now until the other Masons made a decision. I didn't necessarily clash with them. Good. Then, at least let the old man in. Shouldn't the body be disposed of so that it doesn't decompose and the exact cause of death should be revealed? Ma Yi was known as a politically neutral figure, and everyone at our school trusted and respected him, so they did not reject the offer. After conducting a thorough autopsy for a while, the demon doctor came out and spoke to the disciples of the Subhan Mason. It looks like he died because his heart and blood vessels throughout his body were severely damaged due to excessive self-inflicted energy. There were no signs of intrusion or fighting, and he was not poisoned, so it appears he died from poisoning. The disciple sighed at those words, and I was secretly happy. As long as the words Ndiljuama came out of the devil's mouth, it was possible to avoid looking for the evil beast. On the way out of Sia Wonjin and on the way to report to Keon Magian, Seo Darion asked carefully. Isn't it? What? You know, that. As if he did not dare to say it in words, Seo Darion sent a message. Gakyu didn't kill the Subhonmasan, right? Why? Do you think I killed him? You brought the child to me yesterday, right? This is a child who almost fell victim to the great law of the heart. Where is that? When I left the church 2 months ago, he told me that he used his eyes to make the impossible possible. Now the impossible has become possible and has become a reality. Do you really want to know? No. I'd rather not know. I'll go back first. Seo Darion turned and walked towards Hwangkyongak. Keon Magian could be seen in the distance. How will your father react? I slowly walked down the bloody path. My father was sitting in the royal palace as always. Today, Simon, the commander-in-chief, was also there. After greeting the two, Simon asked me, what was it like when Prince Li was expelled from school? I used work as an excuse and had a good time. Your face looks better. Soldier, don't just work, get some fresh air and play around. After not playing all my life, the day I play for once, enemies usually attack. We laughed together at Simon joke. After saying hello with a light joke, I reported on the death of the Subhonmasan. The magician came to the conclusion that it was a coin immersion. At my words, my father and Simon said nothing for a moment. I could feel it. That the two people do not believe in the results. What is the probability that a person like a Mason will suddenly fall into a poison spell and die? So I played first. It's hard to believe that someone of the level of a Soul Mason was struck by a demon. It is possible that he was murdered by someone. That's a possibility. We will investigate the incident at Hwangkian Pavilion. Mason will come forward and investigate this matter. Why don't we do it? For generations, Keon Magian cannot intervene in relation to the death of the Magian. I have no choice but to watch everything. Well, if that's the case, I won't come forward. It's nice and comfortable for us. After talking about a few things about this incident, Simon Ming naturally left the room. When Simon Ming retreated, his father asked directly, how did you kill him? What do you mean? How did you kill Sia Fan? My father's emotion was not anger but curiosity. Because my father was not the kind of person who had regrets about people who had already died. You are probably thinking this. How on earth did this guy kill Sia Fan? And that too with the sign of the coin. In times like this, I would like to give you a nice answer. They killed him like this because of this and that. But you're overestimating it. No matter how good my talent is, it's not great enough to cause the Subsoul Mason to fall into a poison spell and die. Actually, I wanted to be honest with my father. However, there was no way to explain how the blood stability water was obtained. At least it was fortunate that the Sia Ponmazon died after falling into a demon. If the person had died in a fight rather than a suicide attack, the cause of death would have been thoroughly analyzed to find out who killed him. So I would have had to bury the body somewhere. Anyway, in many ways, it would have been more troublesome than it is now. I drank all night with Mr. Thomas yesterday. He guarantees my actions. But my father snorted. Did you two go and kill them together? No. Absolutely not. Father, this is a punishment from heaven. Sufarmazan was a monster that ripped out people's hearts alive. Anyway, my father believes that I killed him. Nevertheless, there is another reason for not telling the truth. Because it was a truth that would be a burden to my father. Because we end up in a situation where we have to close our eyes even though we know that we killed Mason. My father looked down at me in silence for a moment and suddenly spoke. Now that the soul is dead, even the quiet Masons will move. Parmesan is a life and death community. The death of one person is a threat to all. Just as my father doubted me, they might also doubt me. I looked at my father and spoke calmly. I just hope that no other monsters emerge in the process. The place I visited after leaving Kyeonmajian was Bakcheonjeomga. The person who welcomed me was Sao Jong. Welcome, Gongya Lee. He faced me with a brighter face than usual. Sao Jong-ah, Sao Jong-ah. Do you know that, strictly speaking, you killed the Subsoul-Mazan? If he hadn't brought in the Subsoul Mason, I wouldn't have known about the heart and soul great law. The person who was most surprised and embarrassed in this situation would be Sao Jong Lee. I should have died, but the Soul Mason died. He guided me to the front of the mook, greeted me politely, and then turned around. Then let's talk. It was clear that he was not a good guy, but that didn't mean he could be punished for attracting the Soul Mason. I'll pretend not to notice and keep an eye on him, but if there's a need to use him, I plan to use him then. Welcome, Gongya Lee. In the past, Ilkwa Jeomsan would only take care of the flower garden without even looking back, but now he welcomed me warmly. How are you? I heard you were expelled from school. Did you have a good trip? Yes. I came back after getting some fresh air. Every time I see Gongya Lee, he makes a fortune. Do you think I've changed? Is it because of the 3-day affair with me? She is definitely sensitive to my changes. To the point where I feel like I want to apply for military service right away. Let's have a seat sometime soon. Good. You're welcome anytime. I held out what I had brought for her. This may be a small gift, but it is a gift to my senior. What I brought were seeds that are difficult to find in this area. I brought this flower because it has a nice scent. Oh, this is your first time receiving seeds as a gift. It's my first time too. Thank you, I will try to raise it well. Now, let's go in and have some tea. I went inside her house for the first time. The place was elegantly decorated and smelled good. The house is cozy and nice. Good. It's a place where an old woman lives alone, so there's nothing special about it. How old are you? Come take a walk down the streets of Hangzhou with me. Probably, every time you walk 10 steps, guys will come over and ask you to have a drink with them. Nonsense. Even while waving her hands, she couldn't hide her smile. She is less sensitive to praise than to praise for her excellent swordsmanship. Let's go next time. Together with Mr. Thomas. When Thomas was mentioned, her expression hardened slightly. She still has a bad relationship with Thomas. Since I'm stuck in the middle, I just don't vote as much as possible. Reconciling with Thomas was still not easy. She naturally changed the topic. Did you hear the news that the Soul Mason died? Yes, I heard. Were you involved in that death? Then he looked at me intently. At this moment, her eyes were cold. Regardless of his kindness towards me, the death of the sub-honor Mason was something that made other Masons nervous. The awareness that if one thing collapses, everything may collapse has been their survival principle for a very long time. The doctor concluded that he died from poisoning. No Mason will believe that. But not me. Ilkwa Jeomsan looked suspicious at my firm words, but I couldn't tell if he was also skeptical in his heart. Why did you think it was me? Maybe it's because of the rain. Because I knew that my skills were on par with hers. Because the lake is shaking due to the ripples you caused. Oh, you said you like stormy seas, not lakes, right? The moment you take a dip, the peaceful lake has already turned into the sea. The Soul Mason was the first to drown in that sea. I am a fisherman in that sea. It doesn't kill people by drowning them. That would be correct. I caught a chopping board. Is it difficult for you, senior? It might be possible if we release the fish we caught. Because I don't want to go into a fishing net with a cutting board in it. I smiled slightly and she didn't smile. You don't know what happens to people. Sufarmazan was a person who cared so much for himself. I never thought he would be the first to die like this. Seo Hwanjin will be confused for a while. There will be a battle for successor. When a Magan dies, a successor takes over, and if he or she is recognized by 4 of the remaining 7 Megans, he or she becomes the successor. Subhonmasan had 5 disciples. Since he died without having officially decided on a successor, the most outstanding person among the 5 will succeed the Subhonmasan. Who do you support? Why are you curious about that? Wouldn't it be better if someone from our side takes over? Our side? Yes, our side. We are non-music friends. She hit the bow before she could think of the chopping board. She finally smiled faintly, probably because the term Bimu friend was funny. You can share the same ideas with your non-mu friends. After chatting with her some more, I said goodbye. I will leave for today. Thank you for coming despite your busy schedule. Ilgwa Jeomsan followed him out to the yard. Gongya Lee. When fishing, some fish are easy to catch, while others hold tight in the water. But be careful. Some fish may jump out and attack the angler, or even capsize the boat. In short, it meant to be careful of other parmesans other than Domana himself. Thank you for your concern. And don't forget, I haven't caught any fish yet. Isn't just giving me this advice a half-caught fish? Ilgwa Jeomsan didn't look that upset when he was told that he was half-caught. Maybe we are just acknowledging it to that extent. Then take care until we see you next time. After leaving the house and walking a little, I looked back and saw that she was in the yard, planting the seeds I had given her in the soil. It seems like only yesterday that he was staring at me so scary, but we have already become like this. She's right. I really don't know what happens to people. As my father and Ilgwa Jeomsan warned, there was a meeting of the 7 Majans that very day. It was a special meeting prepared due to the death of the Subhonmasan. Since it was a meeting attended only by Megans, not even my father knew what they talked about. On the night of the meeting, Hyalkian Doma came to see me. His expression was not good. Do you have alcohol? Episode 58, Don't Kill Me for Now. As soon as Hyalkian Doma sat down, he started looking for alcohol. I brought home the alcohol I had bought and poured myself a glass. Has something bad happened to you? Only after drinking several glasses of alcohol in succession did Hyalkian Doma reveal the reason for his anger. Those idiots openly bullied me. Ha ha ha. I didn't mean that for a laugh. Sorry. I never thought there would be a Mason who was ostracized. Hyalkian Doma's eyes widened even more as if it was no joke. Sorry. How on earth did you get away with it? No one talked to me. Isn't it always like that? Well, I didn't talk much, but not like today. If you had confronted me openly, I wouldn't have been so angry. What are you talking about? You mean you? Yes? Me. They suspect that you collaborated with me to kill the Subsoul Mason. That's why you're bullying me. Did we do that? We didn't do that. Hyalkian Doma glared at me with cold eyes. I guess you did. You killed him, right? Why is everyone suspicious of me? Because you are the one with the most blood on your hands these days. Isn't there a law that prevents the blood of the soul from getting on those hands? Is that you? Instead of answering, I stared at the blood-chopping block. He must have read the look in my eyes. That I killed the Soul Mason. Why are you telling me the truth? I didn't say anything. Yeah, I didn't say it. I did it with my eyes. If I had just tried to pull it away, I would have pulled it away. There were 2 reasons for not doing so. First, the intention was to create tension in me. Being close is being close, and it will lead to a relationship between me and him as masters. The intention is for you to believe in me and follow me without having any other thoughts. Moderate tension in human relationships will reduce mistakes. The second reason was because I trusted him. Because I wanted to tell the truth and believed that no problems would arise if I told it. You really believe in me? If you didn't believe it, you wouldn't have made the elderly person sit on the chair. Before I was a left master, I was a member of the Parmesan. You may be Parmesan, but you are my sitter. If you trust people so easily, you will get stabbed in the back one day. It wasn't easy for me to believe it. Think about what happened to you and me. Hyalkian Doma suddenly asked. Aren't you scared? What? Becoming Parmesan's enemy. Samazan, to be exact. Samazine. Hyalkian Doma, who looked at me blankly for a moment, hit the table with his glass and stood up suddenly. What? When did you kill 3 more? Did you kill so-and-so? I quickly spoke to him who was yelling. Fix it, that's not what I meant. It was a really short moment, but it was surprising that Hyul Doma thought that. How great does this person think of me? Then what do you mean by Samazan? Listen to my calculations. Now that the Subsoul Mason is dead, it is now the 7 Mason, right? If the elders are left out, only half of the 6 demon zones and GM zones have been handed over to me, so it's half of the O Amazon zones. First of all, let's say that the Omazan class is my enemy. In this situation, you and Geoms and Senior are not going to be playing around, right? If the two of you combine to take charge of half the Ilmazan and deal with it, you will be left with exactly the Samazan. So my opponent was Samazan. In fact, it may be less. Even if there are 2 more people out of the 7 Mason who will join hands with me, I only have to deal with the Imazan. It's easy, right? Hyul Doma looked at me with the most absurd expression since I met him. Okay, I already know that you're this crazy, so I'll skip it. There is one thing you haven't thought of. What is it? I and Geomson will never fight with the Masons. I know. Because it is an iron rule of Mason that has been passed down for a very long time. I know. I will do the fighting, so you don't have to betray me. Betrayal is not something people do. Circumstances do it. So you shouldn't trust me. I will not create a situation where you will be betrayed. So please help me, old man. I faced Hyul Doma with faith. I thought that was the best way to make him mine. After drinking, he poured it out. If you make a mistake, you will die, you bastard. At that moment, my heart was turbulent. I sensed genuine concern from the words he blurted out. Yes, I will be careful. We drank in silence. When the glass was empty, I poured it and drank again. When the bottle was empty, he told me one thing. I did that before. Hyul Doma is more emotional than me. Although he denied it at the time, he is clearly an emotional person. Otherwise, I wouldn't have told you this now. The Masons called in a person to reveal this incident. Who are you? Something unexpected came out of his mouth. Puncheon religious leader. I was surprised. Are you the leader of Puncheon and not someone else? This is the Puncheongyo bridge where I saved the Yumrejong and the blood stability essence. Why is Puncheon Pyoju? Sufonma's magic is based on blood religion's magic. As you well know, Hyulgyo was the predecessor of Puncheongyo. So, I believe that the leader of the Puncheon cult will be able to accurately determine the cause of death if he looks at the corpse of Sufonma. I heard that the leader of the Puncheon church never vacates his throne. He will definitely come. Why are you so sure? I will make you come somehow. Don't ignore Parmesan's power. They will somehow get the Puncheon cult leader to come here. Whether it's threatening or giving me treasure, I'll do it no matter what. This would have been impossible in the past during the time of the clan religion. There were several wars with our school and they were powers that could not coexist. However, after it was changed to Puncheon Bridge, the relationship changed. As the Parmejans joined hands, it was Puncheon Bridge that established themselves as an ally rather than an ally. What about the sacred items of Puncheon Bridge? You'll figure it out. If I'm really anxious, I'll pack everything and come. Wouldn't it be better to send the body there? There was also a way to process it so it would not spoil and send it by wagon. The reason the leader of the Puncheon church is here is not just because of the autopsy. Is there any other reason? There are 3 more reasons. First, the Masons show their determination to find the evil beast. This is to show not only the main school but also the Murim Alliance and the Sado Alliance that Parmesan should never be touched. This is the most important purpose. You're trying to show that even the Puncheon Bridge is moving. If you touch the Mason, he will definitely take revenge. Yes. What about the second reason? It's because of the leader. Father. I want to show it to the leader. We are trying to show off that the reason Puncheongyo and Kion Machinyo are allies is not because of the religious leaders but because of Parmesan. Parmesan has constantly kept his father in check. Perhaps the reason my father brought me in also stemmed from that conflict. What about the third reason? It's you. Me. If you killed the Subsoul Mason, the leader of the Puncheon church will definitely find out about it through you. I will find out who you are and what method was used to kill you. That was correct. If you were the leader of the Puncheon cult, you might be able to find out that I put blood-stabilizing water in my eyes. I must hide the fact that I killed the Soul Mason. If it is revealed, he he will not be able to become the successor due to their desperate opposition, let alone the revenge from Parmesan. But are you okay? Me? Why me? You became an accomplice with me, right? He drank with me all night, so you might think we moved in together. Maybe I dozed off for a while drinking. I chuckled when he said that he would get out of there if he had to. Which of the Parmesans went to get him? How did you know that Parmesan went? Of course, someone important must have gone. Isn't it strange that everyone is rushing in? Mabul has gone. Mabul, one of the Parmesans, had a close relationship with the leader of Punction. The reason for sending him was the will to bring back the leader of Punction without fail. I asked Hyolki and Doma with a smile. Shall we chase after Mabul and kill him? Or should I kill the departing Punction religious leader? Or he kill them both? If that happens, a war will break out with Saoe and the Martial Forest. If we are divided, those idiotic Murim League bastards will suddenly shout for the overthrow of the demonic cult. Sardomayang's eyes will turn red as if he doesn't have anything to eat. Why don't you drink some fresh blood with me? Hyolki-Doma stood up and said. If you want to die, die alone. Wasn't it a symbiotic relationship between you and me? Ever since we were born, Gongya Li, our lives have been about living on our own. I'm leaving. Hyolki-Doma left my room. I poured down the last of my drink. You mean the head of the Punction Church is coming? The next morning, when I arrived at Kionmajian after receiving my father's call, my father was not sitting in the royal palace but was standing by the window. Did you call me, father? Come here. I slowly walked up the stairs to where my father was standing. I already heard that Seo Huanjin is noisy. Would it be any different if they were ghosts? It will be the beginning of a power struggle. Seo Huanjin, who lost his owner overnight, was confused. There was no sadness at the center of the chaos. Because he was a soul mason who was always immersed in his own world, no one mourned his death. The magicians were only paying attention to who the next soul mason would be. Please leave for a moment and come back. Where are you talking about? Isn't it time to take a look at the Hwangkyongak branch in the Central Plains? I could tell. My father also knows that Parmesan called the leader of Punction. That they are worried about me and are trying to send me out. Please reconsider sending me out. The reason is, Parmesan called the Punction cult leader to investigate the death of Subhonmasan. As expected, my father was not surprised at all. You already know this. It occurred to me that perhaps one of the Mason might have my father's limbs. Or maybe a talented Sejack is delivering accurate information about the movements of Parmesan. If I go to school at a time like this, they will be suspicious of me. I already have doubts. That's why I called the Punction religious leader. The leader of Punction is not an easy person. I don't know what method you used to kill Siafun, but I will definitely find out that it was you. It's not me, father. Isn't it possible that the Murim Alliance sent assassins? That means they want to go to war with us, but they are far from war right now. The Murim League knew each other intimately. If war breaks out, no matter how secretly it is carried out, the signs will be detected at least 3 days in advance. Are you really confident that you will get through this safely? Yes. Where does your confidence come from? You asked the same question before. The same answer was given in a different way. If your father were me, would you have gone to school? No. I am my father's son. Yes, you are my son, not me. Instead, I can at least imitate my father. If the object of imitation is the father, then just imitation is enough. My father thought he could no longer break my will. Okay then, keep one thing in mind. I thought you would tell me to be careful. Of course I thought so. My father said as he turned and walked away. You must not kill the leader of the Punction Church. At that moment I knew. No way? Are you worried about the leader of the Punction Church, not me? My father added as he strode out. Not even other Mason. Don't kill anyone for now. I didn't kill him. I pulled it all the way out, but my father had already closed the door and left. I slowly went down the stairs, walked the bloody path, and left the Kionmajian Hall. Killing the leader of the Punction Church? How well do I know about Punction Bridge and its leader? To me, this person is like a treasure trove and I am grateful to him. However, if he comes here and puts pressure on me, he will be more grateful to me. Episode 59. Sometimes the shell is better than the inside. As far as I know, there are 2 ways to avoid being caught with blood-stabilizing water in your eyes. The first method is bone transformation. As the body changes completely, it becomes unrecognizable that blood-stabilizing water has been added. This method is as difficult as the 9 fire demonic technique's great power, so it is not worth considering at the moment. The second way is to change just your eyes, not your entire body. Can you change your eyes? There is. Only one person in my time can change my eyesight. He is even in the main school. The question is whether he will listen to my request. The person greeted me, full of the smell of blood. Gongya Li, come here. How have you been, old man Ma? That person was Ma Yi. The blood on the clothes was the patient's blood. I'm always the same. Work while resting. You look tired. Thank you for your concern. I didn't have much interaction with Ma Yi, but after becoming Huangqiongakju, we met several times for work and were able to build a close relationship. I came here to give you some herbs that came by chance. I gave him the gift I had prepared. It is not a herb that is generally available in medical stores, but it is one that I specially bought from outside for a high price. Oh, such a precious herb. Thank you. You're welcome. Come on, let's have a cup of tea. Yes. I drank tea with Dr. Ma. After talking a few words about this and that, Ma Yi vaguely asked, I think you came to see me because you had some business to do. You're right. Actually, I came to you because I had something to ask you. You tell me. I won't talk to you since you are busy. Please perform Shinan Jutsu on me. For a moment, Ma Yi was startled. New eye surgery. If you undergo Shin ophthalmology, a procedure that strengthens your eyes, your general vision as well as your visual acuity will improve dramatically. Additionally, they were not easily affected by external influences coming through their eyes. It is not affected by any external environment such as light, darkness, water or smoke. As the name suggests, you are reborn with new eyes. The effect is so outstanding that it is also called divine eye surgery. If I undergo this new eye surgery, even if the Punctian cultist looks into my eyes, he will not be able to tell that I have put blood-stabilizing water into my eyes. But unfortunately, Shinan Jutsu was known as a secret art that was put into practice a long time ago. Ma Yi's expression completely sank. How did you know I could perform Shinan Jutsu? Since it was not something that could have come out by chance, the horse doctor did not claim that he did not know. What he was curious about was how I knew. We will learn in the future that Ma Yi has mastered Shinan Jutsu. When I returned to the temple to get Dafa materials, Ma Yi was already dead. His greatest disciple, Ho Baek, was in the position of God, and all the facts were learned through him. Ho Baek offered Shinan Jutsu to Ju Baekdo, the sect leader at the time. As a result, it was revealed that Ma Yi had passed on Shinan Jutsu and the necessary drugs to his disciple Ho Baek. I didn't say who I heard from. Rather, there will be one person that Ma Yi will think of when he doesn't mention it. Ah. His expression became cautious. He will think his father told me. There was a reason why that had to be the case. According to the recollections of his best disciple, Ho Baek, his father refused Ma Yi's offer to teach him Shinan Jutsu. He recalled that it was all thanks to his teacher that thanks to him, the materials for Shinan Jutsu were passed down to him and he was able to teach them to the religious leader at the time. That's why Ma Yi will listen to my request. Even though my father refused the Shinan surgery, the fact that he informed me of that fact can be interpreted as his intention to have the Shinan surgery performed on me. Do you know that the fruit of Jungnak Guanumcho, one of the ingredients needed for Shinan Sul, is extremely difficult to obtain, so Shinan Sul can only be brewed once per day? Yeah, I know. Do you still want Shinan Jutsu even though you know that? That's right. Ma Yi was troubled. I gave him time to think. I quietly drank tea and waited, but eventually the horse doctor opened his mouth. If I show you the Shinan Jutsu, what will Gongya Li do for me? I have nothing to give you right now. Instead, he looked at Ma Yi and said with confident eyes, I will become the leader of the cult. If you become the leader of the cult, you will be able to grant whatever the devil wants. Ma Yi's eyes wavered. I know what Ma Yi wants. Ma Yi wanted it until his death, but his father never allowed it. That's why my father refused Shinan Jutsu. If I receive Shinan Jutsu, I have to listen to the magician's request. But unlike my father, I have no intention of refusing. Because I plan to listen to Ma Yi's request. Would you listen to whatever it is? Yes. Instead, there is just one thing. One favor is enough. I promise. Now there is one last thing left for Ma Yi to decide.
Are you confident in becoming the successor?
There is. This time I asked. What do you think, old man? Do you think I will be your successor? If it was my recent actions, Maui would definitely be paying attention. I think your abilities are sufficient. Rather, it can be seen as overflowing. 1. You are so clear. I'm not sure if he's suitable for the position of leader. It actually went well. What does it mean? Please hide these clear eyes with Shinanjutsu. Please give me new eyes. It was said as a joke, but Ma Yi didn't laugh. He was about to make the once-in-a-lifetime choice, and he knew that it would determine his fate. This is an important decision, so please think it over before contacting us. I got up from my seat. I want to ask you one last question, Mr. Lee. Yes. If you become a religious leader, how do you plan to deal with the Murim alliance? It will depend on the situation at the time. But one thing is certain. Whether it is a political sect, an individual, an organization, a man or a woman, if it is judged to be absolute evil, it will definitely be punished. I left there feeling at ease because I knew that it was at least a model answer for him. 3 days later, Hyle Kyondoma visited Uibang. Dr. Ma was sitting quietly in the treatment room, and the fatigue of several days had accumulated on his face. Hyle Kyondoma said as he entered the room. Is it time to die? Why are you doing something you've never done before? Ma Yi sent someone to see him in secret. That's why I came here quietly at such a late hour. It won't be long before we die. Stop talking nonsense. Get rid of the word we. Why do you have so many regrets in this world? Those who say they have no regrets in this world are actually in even more hell on the inside. Not many people knew that the two were such close friends. What's going on? Since you called me, do you think you're tired of saving people's lives? Should we go kill someone together? Ma Yi smiled slightly. He got along quite well with Hyle Kyondoma, who spoke without hesitation. The saying that they are close because of their different personalities makes sense when you look at their relationship with Hyle Kyondoma. There was a time when I thought that I wanted to live like a Hyle Kyondoma, saying whatever I wanted to say. I called you because I wanted to ask you something. What? Why did you choose a scientist? At that moment, Hyle Kyondoma stared at Demon Ui. Then he burst into laughter. There's really no place he can't reach. I saw that even Uibang Senin was summoned to the battlefield. Why on earth are you asking that? Ma Yi answered after a moment. As you said, it seems like you've grown tired of saving people's lives. Hyle Kyondoma laughed cheerfully, but Ma Yi was still serious. Why are you a scientist? Why? I chose him because I thought he would become the leader of a religious cult. Ma Yi nodded. He misunderstood that the sect leader taught Jiamujuk his Shinanjutsu. Considering that fact, there was a high possibility that Li Gongya would become the successor. But Ma Yi needed more than that. Because I was at a crossroads between whether or not I would use this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because of that, whether or not he would achieve his lifelong wish depended on it. So what is the reason? This was Hyle Kyondoma's honest answer. Somehow I got caught up in this guy. When I came to my senses, I saw that I was putting the divine mercy in the guy's mouth. I couldn't bear to say that. The master of science said so. He said that in his magic, he does not break guest tables. That's why I chose it. Ma Yi stared blankly at Hyle Kyondoma for a moment. I didn't expect such an absurd answer to come out, but strangely enough, I felt like I knew what it felt like. The heart of Jiamujuk and the heart of Hyle Kyondoma. Well, it's time to stop destroying things. Ma Yi stood up from his seat. Where are you going after calling someone? I need a drink. Next time. I will live then. For old people, where's next? By today. But Ma Yi had already left there. Looking at the back, Hyle Kyondoma laughed. I am diligent and will not die easily. Of course, I was talking about sword dance, not horse medicine. I was sleeping and opened my eyes. The Kyoma defense god announced the presence of a visitor. When I got up from the bed, put on my sword, and went outside, I saw a horse doctor standing in the yard. Are you here? I didn't release any demonic energy at all, so how did you know I was here? I was sleeping when I suddenly opened my eyes. It's like fate. The reason why I added the popular word fate is because it is a word that is very applicable to older people. I guess this was all fate because I was at an age where there were a lot of things that would be difficult to sort out. I've been saving people my whole life. That's a great job. Ma Yi shook his head. I am not a sacrificial person. The reason I saved someone was because I wanted to kill someone. What do you mean? I asked, pretending not to know, but I already knew. That is why Ma Yi committed himself to this school. As a lawmaker, killing people is against the will of heaven. That's why. I tried to save at least one more person in order to atone for my sins. After letting out a long sigh, the doctor asked me, if you become the leader of the cult, will you kill him? Yes. Why don't you ask who it is? Anyone you want to kill must be a villain. I trust you. Do you know what was inside me? I think sometimes the shell is more important than the inside. The shell of the devil is not one that can be easily obtained. I believe in the effort that went into creating the name Maui. Of course, that is not the only belief in him. I believe it because I know everything about him, including his life, death, and the people he is trying to kill. Otherwise I would never set my eyes on him. It's not easy to kill him. If you do it wrong, many people will get caught up and die. So my wish is to kill him without any other sacrifices. Can you promise to do that? This may be why my father refused. To grant his request, his father had to move personally, but the position of Kiyoma was extremely heavy to move for the sake of one individual's grudge. I will become stronger and kill him without unnecessary sacrifices. Will you promise? Yes. If I die first, will you keep this promise? I promise. I will whisper to him as I plunge my sword into his heart. It's a sword sent by Demon Doctor. Just thinking about it brought a smile to Ma's lips, as if it made him feel good. Eventually, Ma Yi made up his mind. Good, I will perform Shinanjutsu on you. Thank you. I bowed to him and saluted him. Thank you after the Shinanjutsu is over. Let's go. Are you going to do it now? If you make up your mind, you should do it right away. Do you know what will happen to my heart tomorrow? Why? You don't like it. It can't be. Let's go. I followed Ma Yui, who was walking with great strides. Then I looked around carefully. This was the last world I would see with my eyes. Episode 60. There are many hidden tales. The place Ma Yi was headed was not Uibang. He took me to his residence, where there was a separate secret room in the basement for important procedures. The cabinets that filled the walls displayed all kinds of medicine bottles and herbs whose contents were unknown. There were many herbs that even I, an expert in medicinal herbs, had never seen before. It's a dangerous procedure, so there's a lot to prepare for. Take your time. What if I fail? You could go blind. I could tell that he was asking to gauge my will. Because there was no such thing as blindness due to failure in Shinanjutsu. If it was a procedure with such risks, I would not have dared to offer it to the heavenly demon. If there is a patient whose magic medicine fails, it will be because of my fate. The doctor laughed at my belief and took out the materials needed for the procedure from the secret safe. Immediately after, I lit soothing incense and disinfected my saliva. Several drugs were mixed and some were boiled and cooled. Meanwhile, I was lying on the bed with my top off, holding a warm, medicinally scented cloth over my eyes. Okay then, let's begin. I look forward to. He put several medications in my eyes at different times. Some were as clear as water and some were as red as blood. There was a green liquid like poison, and there was also a blue liquid like my sword. Since I completely trusted Dr. Ma, I left my eyes in peace. After injecting several drugs into the eyes, the horse doctor placed acupuncture needles. Saliva was poured not only around the eyes but also on the face and chest. Now take a nap. My eyes closed automatically. I spoke with my heart to the heavenly demon guardian god. You too, relax and sleep well for today. I slept well for the first time in a long time. I slept so soundly that I wondered how long it had been since I last slept so soundly. When I woke up, all the saliva I had placed on my face and body had already been recovered. Ma was sitting at the desk reading a book, and when I woke up, he walked towards me. How do you feel? Great. What about the eyes? It's better. My eyes really became clearer. My eyesight, which was originally good, got even better and my vision was very clear. It felt like I was coming out of a fog, but the surroundings were so clear that I felt like I had lived with my eyes closed all this time, to exaggerate a bit. Follow me. I left the secret room with him and went up to the first floor. We stood side by side at the window. The sun was high in the sky. Look at the sun. Because I was looking directly at the sun, my eyes felt dazzling, but it wasn't dazzling at all. How is it? It's not dazzling. Look over there. Things in the distance that would not have been visible before were clearly visible. It looked amazingly good. And when I strained my eyes, I could see everything that shouldn't be visible. It looks good. You can even see ants crawling on the tree branches over there. Ma Yi laughed at my words. It's not a joke. I know, it's not a joke. He laughed with joy. Oh, that's really great. Now follow me again. This time, the doctor took me to a dark room in a secret underground room. The vision that had been blurred only by raising the internal power was clearly visible even without raising the internal power. It looks good. I can clearly see the medicine bottle over there and the picture on the wall. Okay, the procedure was a complete success. Your eyes have been reborn. Thank you. Thank you. Even when I wanted to practice Shinanjutsu, my main purpose was to avoid the eyes of the Punchan religious leader. So it seems that I didn't have much expectations about the effects of this Shinanjutsu. But Shinanjutsu was much more amazing than I thought. This is probably the only word to describe this state. My eyes were wide open. After coming out of the dark room, I bowed to Ma Yi. Thank you. The embarrassed horse helped me up. Why are you like this? The old man used a secret magic on me that can be used once in a lifetime. I will definitely repay this favor by keeping my promise. Thank you. When you become the leader of the cult, you will tell me who to kill. Ma Yi held my hand firmly and I also gave it strength. As I left Ma Yi's residence, I saw different things everywhere. It really felt like a new world had unfolded. Suddenly this thought occurred to me. The blood stabilization water and Shinanjutsu are the same. Punchyongyo and my eyes were intertwined like fate. Anyway, thank you, Master Punchan. In this way, the Punchan religious leader received a mysterious thank you. I realized once again how important it is to have good eyesight when it comes to martial arts. Herbivore became more sophisticated, and as it became more sophisticated, it became stronger. In fact, a greater help than this will come in practice. You will avoid attacks that were previously unavoidable and you will see opportunities that you could not see before. It will also be of great help when running at a fast pace. I was worried that my eyesight would be able to support the extreme speed if I later achieved great success, but now that worry is gone. Because I have the most powerful eyes a human can have. After leaving the Huangqiongak work to Seo Dairayong, I stayed in the training hall for a while to give my martial arts skills and body time to adjust to the new eyes. After being immersed in martial arts training for a while, I visited Ian for the first time in a while. Ian, let's play. Ian was absorbed in martial arts training. No. You have to practice it over and over again 20 times. Why do you practice herbivore 20 times a day? 60 times a day. There are 20 evening retreats. Oh my God. I'm sick. I'm already sick. It's a disease where you can't sleep if you don't practice. Let's just rest for today. If you go and have a drink with me, you'll sleep well. I'm done. How many times are left? 8 times. If you interrupt me like that, it will take longer. I pouted my mouth and watched her practicing martial arts. My back turned less. The left side is empty. Faster this time. As I corrected her posture, I felt again that Ian was very talented in martial arts. She understood quickly and learned well. I watched her eat a couple more times, then felt that I had nothing to say today and fell into the practice of Kionma defense. The martial art that I trained the most in the process of dealing with the demon lord was the heavenly demon defense sword. The more you learn the Kionma self-defense technique, the more it feels new. As always, he connects with me most deeply. It felt like I was learning a living martial art. Actually, connecting this deeply may be something that wakes me up from my sleep. How many times did he repeat the training of the heavenly demon tiger god like that? When I opened my eyes, I saw Ian looking at me from some distance away. Done. Yes. I filled it all 20 times. Let's go have a drink. I feel like I'm starving to death. Of course. You starved for 3 full days. What? 3 days? Yes. You've had good luck for 3 days. It was 3 days ago that you came to see me. It seemed like you were in a trance. I didn't speak to you on purpose. I was surprised. I don't think I've practiced even 1 session, let alone a few sessions. I guess I slept. I checked to see if that was the case, but he wasn't sleeping. He was muttering something to himself. I really must have been in a trance. I couldn't remember anything about the training. Wait for a sec. I sat down and performed the Kionma self-defense technique once. The machine operated much more smoothly and accurately than before. I stood up and smiled brightly. There has been great progress in the Kionma self-defense gong. It seems that the training that has been going on for a while has accumulated and led to a rise to the level through this trance. You got results, right? You can tell just by looking at my expression. I smiled broadly and nodded. Enough to buy a nice meal. Congratulations, Master. Thanks. It's thanks to you. Why is it thanks to me? If you hadn't been so stubborn about continuing your training to the end, you wouldn't have sat next to me and fallen into a trance. Oh, I see. Buy food. I'll buy you everything you want to eat. I quickly left the training center with Ian. You starved too, right? No. I ate. But Ian's stomach was growling. She wasn't the type of person to eat alone when I was hungry and eating breakfast. I probably stopped practicing for 3 days out of fear that it might disturb my trance. Foolish Gontarenji. No. If you were truly remorseful, you wouldn't have been caught starving. By sneaking around like this, I'm showing off how loyal a subordinate I am, right? Rather, I used it as a golden opportunity to score points. It's a fox, it's a fox. Of course, there are still many tails hidden. I laughed happily. It's been a while since I walked with you like this. I see. It's good, as expected. As expected, adding 1 word really made people feel better. I'm good too, Ian. I went into Magashon Pungria Bar with Ian. Welcome. It's been a while since I saw you, Mr. Garkyu. Seeing Cho Chun Ba greet me warmly reminded me of his cooking and made me even hungrier. Give it to me quickly. I'll run to your light attack. After giving the drink first, Cho Chun Ba ran to the kitchen. We started off with a drink on an empty stomach. Kia. Kill. Ua. It's poisonous. I am absolutely dying. After a while, the food came out and we devoured it without paying attention to anyone else. We patted our swollen bellies and talked about martial arts over drinks. She asked me everything I was curious about, and I answered sincerely as much as I knew. My Baekyeon Jeonbiop was at a standstill after the 10 stars and Dzeong were broken, and I thought that it would be good if the new eye surgery I received this time would have a positive effect. As we talked about martial arts, the topic naturally turned to Seo Daeryong. By the way, is Inspector Seo doing well? I'll be fine. I haven't been able to tell you that I've been practicing these days. Everyone is busy. I don't know, but I will do well. Work and training. It's amazing to see Inspector Seo getting along well with Mr. Doma. I don't know if you're doing well. I'm going to get scolded and my pillow might get wet every night. Ian laughed and said it was fun. It won't be like that. In secret, Mr. Thomas seems like a nice person. But you can't let down your guard. Just because he's a good person to Inspector Seo doesn't guarantee he'll be a good person to you, too. The opponent is Mason. Be careful. Yes, I will keep that in mind. Someday, you have to win with your skills. For a moment, Ian was shocked. Me. Like before, people didn't say, how can I beat Mason with my skills? Since I have been taught the art of flying swords, such words are disrespectful to me and my father. I will try my best. No? Poor skills die first. Once you start, you have to go to the end. Yes. I raised my glass and she drank with me. And once the Baishan swordsmanship reaches a certain level, let's gather the subordinates of the Guayundi in earnest. If you get the leader level right, the rest will be easy. Is there anyone you have in mind? I nodded honestly. Maybe 1 or 2. I'll have to come out later and hire him. Who is it? If you find out now, you'll just be surprised.
I'll let you know when the time comes.
When you say that, my heart is already racing. In that case, there is a good solution called alcohol, right? The sound of clinking glasses was as cheerful as our mood.
I order more drinks and more snacks.
It's a shame, but I think I'll have to stop drinking today. Ian followed my gaze and looked down at the first floor. Seo Dae-ryeong quickly came into the bar, went up to our seat on the second floor, and reported on the new subject I would have to cook from now on. The leader of the Punchan Church has just arrived at our school.